Hello, and welcome back to Behind the Investigation. I'm Mike with Elite Investigations right here in Billings, Montana. And let me tell you, it's been a busy summer. We've been stacked with cases, cheating spouses, workplace theft, missing persons, you name it, we've been working on it. We even worked a forgery case where a family member forged a will to steal the entire inheritance. It took a handwriting expert out of Bozeman and court records and some solid legwork to convince the local police department that this just wasn't a family squabble, it was criminal fraud. But the one thing we're seeing more and more of are romantic cons. You know, it's easy to think that could never happen to me. But whether it's someone you just met online or an old high school sweetheart who suddenly pops back in your life after 20 years, don't let that charm blind you. People change, and you never really know what's in someone's past. That's where we come in. If you're starting dating somebody and you're not sure if everything adds up, hire a PI, quietly, professionally. They'll never know unless you tell them. We can check for criminal records, liens, judgments, bankruptcies, marriage license, where they've ever lived and worked. Our databases are 20 times better than the $30 websites you find online. This isn't guesswork. It's real investigative data, and it could save you a lifetime of heartache or worse. There are entire documentaries on Netflix and Amazon Prime that show just how bad it can get. Stories of people scammed out of love, trust, and tens of thousands of dollars. This is a real problem in today's world. So before you give someone your heart or your credit card, make sure they are who they say they are. Because once that damage is done, it's a lot harder to fix. Tonight, on Behind the Investigation, a tale as old as time, but with a modern twist. Love, lies, and larceny. It's a romantic con that left heartbreak and empty bank accounts and more questions than answers. So as we dive in today's episode, prepare for another thrilling journey into the world of private investigation. Grab a cup of coffee or your favorite drink, sit back, stay curious, and let's uncover the truth together as we get started on today's episode of Behind the Investigation. Welcome back, I'm Mike, and this week we're going to be peeling back the curtain on how a charming grifter pulled off one of the slickest sweetheart scams I've ever worked. This case hits close to home. It's recent, it's raw, and it's real. Obviously the names have been changed and details shifted to protect the innocent and to keep me out of court. So let's dive into it. Our story starts in a small town here in Montana where everyone knows everyone, or at least they think they do. Enter Rachel, a 42-year-old nurse with a big heart and a long history of looking after others. Recently divorced, emotionally vulnerable, finally taking a chance on love. And she met Jack, a rugged, handsome Army veteran now working construction out of state. She met him during a trip to Boise when she was visiting friends, and they hit it off real fast. Jack was attentive, protective, and articulate. They met twice in person, and he would send her flowers often. They would exchange photos of him at work, and he'd tell her about big jobs that he had. She even had him meet her dog. Jack told just enough truth to sound real. Real job, real stories. But when he had to travel back to work, the communication slowed down to just 2-word text messages and some calls. It wasn't long before Jack ran into a little trouble. His truck broke down. Subcontractor skipped out of town with his client's deposit. His paycheck was on hold. Each time, Rachel would step in and help. Small wire transfer here. She even got a joint credit card. And then she started sending him cash apps, money through Cash App. And it all added up. Over 6 months, Rachel had spent more than $57,000. And she believed every word because Jack was smooth, calculated, and confident. But not everyone was convinced. Rachel's brother, Tom, wasn't buying any of it. He served in the military too. Something about Jack's stories just didn't add up. Too many vague answers. Too much flattery towards his sister. And when Tom would ask to meet Jack in person, well, Jack came up with excuses why he couldn't do it. So Tom started digging on his own. And then one night, Tom got a text message from Jack. Hey man, I know you're worried about your sister, but there's no need to go digging or hire a PI. Rachel and I are good. Let her be happy. Wow, that was the final red flag for Tom, and he called me, and he asked me to open up an investigation on Jack. So we got to work right away, doing numerous things like reverse image searches on Jack's pictures, doing background checks, tracing bank accounts. We even looked into his vehicle registration. Bit by bit, his story unraveled. Jack was no war hero. He was a seasoned con man with a rap sheet stretching from Nevada to Kentucky. We even found a website for his so-called construction business. It was professional looking, but a total fake. No licenses, no local business filings, no client reviews, just a shell to look just legitimate enough. Meanwhile, Rachel found out Tom had hired a PI, and she was furious. She cut off all contact with him. She couldn't believe he would spy on Jack, the man she believed truly loved her. It wasn't until one of Rachel's close friends quietly reached out to Tom, revealing that Rachel had been sending Jack money, that Tom realized how deep she was in on this. Then Jack doubled down. He texted Rachel, blaming Tom and the PI, which was me, for costing him jobs by snooping around. He guilted her into sending more money, said he just needed a little help to get back on his feet after the damage that Tom and the PI caused him. And I want to be clear about something. We did nothing overt. We didn't talk to any of his friends. We didn't talk to any neighbors. Everything we did was behind the scenes, on the computer, on the databases that I have access to with my licenses. There is no way he knew or was alerted by anything I did that he was being looked into. What we ended up figuring out is Jack had a conversation with Rachel and had mentioned he was planning on hiring a PI. And we think Rachel mentioned something to Jack, which of course, Jack being a con man, sent up red flags, and he knew his time was limited And he needed to use that to convince Rachel to send him more money. He could use that against her by saying that her brother and the PI cost him jobs. So it's a classic case of manipulation, playing the victim to keep control. And it worked, but the evidence was overwhelming. And it was time that Tom brought Rachel into my office. We laid everything out for her. Every piece of his story that I had checked out that did not match what he was telling her. Photos that he had showed her did not match where he said he was. That his business did not exist. All of his employees were made up. Her reaction was shock, rage, and at first, denial. She yelled, "He wouldn't do that to me," she said. But she knew. It was a pretty emotional time. We just sat there in my office for a while, and Tom tried to calm her down. She eventually accepted the truth, and we were able to convince her to file a police report with law enforcement. We froze her accounts, and we cut off all contact with him. And her brother, he stood by her, even when she didn't want to hear it. Romance cons like this are growing fast. In 2024 alone, the FBI reported that there's been over $1 billion in losses due to romance scams. And in 2025, with the rise of AI-generated videos, fake profiles, and spoofed phone numbers, it's only going to get worse. These scammers move fast. They say "I love you" in days, not weeks. They mirror your values, your goals, and your fears. It's not love, it's a script. And the older generations who didn't grow up navigating this technology are especially vulnerable. They trust way too fast. They don't recognize deep fakes or cloned websites. So what can you do? Be skeptical of whirlwind romance. If someone you just met asks for money, you need to hit pause. Use tools like reverse imagery. Look up their phone number and their email. And if your gut or a family member raises red flags, don't ignore them. Most importantly, reach out to a professional. A licensed private investigator can help you verify the truth before it's too late. I want to thank you for watching this episode of Behind the Investigation. We appreciate you taking the time to learn with us. And we hope this story opened your eyes to just how real and dangerous romantic cons can be. If you found this helpful, follow us on social media for more stories, behind-the-scene case insights, safety tips, and updates from the world of private investigations. And if you or someone you know is possibly being scammed, whether it's a romantic con, financial fraud, or something just doesn't feel right, reach out. We're here to help. Get you the answers before things go too far. And remember, if something feels off, it probably is. There's no shame in asking for help, no harm in double-checking someone's story before it's too late. I'm Mike with Elite Investigations. Stay smart, stay safe, and we'll see you next time on Behind the Investigation.